item number 4 to the consent agenda, which is a check register dated January 10th, 2014.
Support.
I have a motion and support. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'll need a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Mr. Acting Supervisor of the meeting. I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda 14-001, which consists of the approval of the minutes of December 9th, 2013 regular meeting, approval of check register dated December 12th, 2013, approval of check register dated December 20th of 2013, and approval of check register dated January 10th, 2014.
Do I have support?
Support.
Have support. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Move on to the action items.
Mr. Supervisor,
Yes.
you skipped the brief public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. See, that's how my meetings go so fast.
I want to make a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Is there any public comment on the agenda items? Mr. Clark?
Woody Clark, Park Lane. Who's going to pay for it? All these items that you guys are going to put in bids for?
Well, we don't know if we're even going to take them. We're just going to take the bids in, but if they are approved, they'll be approved. They'll be paid for by the airport.
By the airport? And they're going to get their money from where? Us?
The airport?
Not us?
No, the airport. The airport's an enterprise zone, Woody.
Okay.
And the funds are currently, they have a surplus in their operating balance.
Okay.
And any funds that we do to renovate or upgrade the airport will be paid out of the airport funds,
Okay.
which is an enterprise zone.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Any other questions? All right, moving forward, the first four items are involved with the airport. So I'm the liaison to the Airport Commission. I will make the motion on these one at a time. And basically, what we're looking to do is get some data in hand so that we can make some intelligent decisions with regards to the building at the end of Hangar 1. We already know approximately what the cost to demolish that building is going to be, and we're going to see if it's feasible or wise to move forward with the renovation and repairs so that we can lease or utilize portions of this building going forward, because anything we use for demolition, of course, will be just dumpster money. We'll just be throwing it away. So the first item is to approval to seek bids for fencing at buildings 61 and 62 at the Airport Commerce Park. That is the Iverson building. I'm making that motion.
Second.
I have support.
Support.
Mike, you want to tell them what's that particular issue is?
This is to meet the new needs of our new tenant. They have a restriction. They have to have a fence up around the area where vehicles will be stored outside. The minimum height is 6 feet. We've had some lengthy internal conversation in the commission on what we think is appropriate there. You know, we want to please the community. We don't want it to be an eyesore. So we've ultimately decided is to go forward with a bid for an aluminum fence there. I do have a diagram. See if we can see the color there. So it's a little bit hard to see there, but the red lines will be where fences will go, and the blue lines will just be, the red lines there will be where the gates will be for the inside storage yard there, and then the blue is just where the fence line will run between the buildings. This is the cheapest route. We also looked at, because these two buildings are kind of share a parking lot, we looked at doing a fence down the middle, but it would add quite a substantial cost to the project. So we looked at doing it right down this line as well, but it kind of also restricts their access to the overhead doors and the truck bays there. So this is what we decided to move forward with, an aluminum fencing project. We explored steel and commercial grade chain link, and that's what we decided.
Any questions? Basically, the Commerce Park Commission has looked at this, and we want it to be aesthetically pleasing because it's going to be exposed down Meridian and parts of Grow. Any limitations to access to those overhead doors, I think it will be able to be addressed by gating if we have to do that, and we should probably include that in the bid process and pre-bid meeting. I have a motion and I have support. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Based on the recommendation of the Airport Commerce Park Commission, I'd like to make a motion to seek bids for the environmental remediation of the east side of Hangar 1.
Support.
We're looking for bids on this. I've made the motion. I need support.
Yep, support.
Support say.
Mike, you want to give a quick overview?
This bid will basically be for the environmental remediation that was shown in our hazmat study that was done by AKT Peerless recently. It'll be to mitigate any environmental concerns that are in the building. Most of the concerns were with lead-based paint, mastic on the flooring, around the windowsills, and some of the paint left on the walls. There is some asbestos wrapping left on some pipes that will be removed. And then it'll remove any bird guana inside the building and any porous material that would have a capacity to hold mold in it from water penetration, anything like that. And the funds, should we go forward and accept the bid, will come out of our brownfield fund.
Any questions?
Yes.
Wally?
What is going to be your guidance for picking bidders for this portion of the project?
I'll base the bid basically on the environmental study that we've done. The guidance, we'll just review it with the Commerce Park Commission and go from there.
I'm asking, who are you going to send this out to prospective bidders? Do you
Well,
have an audience already, or?
I do not. I mean, if I'm open to any offers, we'll advertise it in
That's what I was asking.
in the Eel camera, and then I'll send it out to any companies that I can find that we've used in the past here on the airport or in the Commerce Park.
Good idea.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The third item is approval, based on the recommendation of the Commerce Park Commission, to seek bids for the roof repair of the east side of Hangar 1. That's a motion. I need support.
Support.
Okay, thank you, Lauren. Mike, you want to, basically, we've had a preliminary review of this particular phase. It seems that the roof appears to be in fairly generally in good condition, but there was a stairway that used to go up to a tower, I believe.
The
at one
control
point.
tower for the Navy when they were here.
For the control tower, and that area is leaking, so will require replacement. The initial bid estimates we got were reasonable, but we want to get them nailed down, so if we decide to move forward with this project, we'll have some factual numbers. I have a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And last but not least, based on the recommendation of the Commerce Park Commission, make a motion to approve the approval to seek bids for the masonry repair on the east side of Hangar 1.
Support.
And Mr. Budney. Basically, there's some question as to the integrity of certain areas. We're also going to have them look at some window work, that whether we need to leave them as windows or brick them up, we'll include that in the masonry repair. And with these three items, we will have a pretty good handle on what our cost is to renovate and make this building sound, and we can move forward at that point. That'll all come back to the Township Board for approval on the expenditures, and if we decide to go that way, then we can we would like to start the project, if we are going to repair this building or remove this building, we'd like to start the project by spring, so that's our goal. So we've had a motion and we have got support. All in favor? Oh, you have a question? Go
I
ahead.
just wanted to know, looking at the aspects, it appears, are they actually going to look at the wall and see if there's anything more that needs to be done?
Yes.
Because that will be.
Yeah, we're going to do an evaluation of the whole structure,
Okay.
masonry-wise. There's one area about center building that looks like part of that bricking is starting to pull away.
Mm-hmm.
And,
That was my concern.
yeah, we'll have a viable box when we're done with this
Okay.
thing.
Mr. Supervisor?
Yes, well,
Just a comment that, excuse me, when we get back to this point after we've received bids, we're not going to be able to pick 1 out of 3 or 2 out of 3 of these items. It's going to have to be all 3 done or none of them done.
that's correct.
There's no sense in fixing a roof if you don't fix a wall.
That's correct.
You know, so
That's correct.
Agreed.
be aware that that's going to be a monstrous project when it's all done.
I'm hoping you're wrong, but you're probably right. But when we're sitting on a $250,000 cost to tear it down and reface the side of the hangar, we've got some latitude to work with, I think.
I think so.
All
I
right.
don't have a problem with it at all, but I'm just saying that everybody needs to realize that this, when we do finally get our numbers in and we make decisions, we have to decide to do the whole thing, not pieces of it or one after another.
Agreed.
All right, we've got a motion, we've got support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Jim, you want to handle the action? I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a special land use for Dr. Manur Khalid's proposal to redevelop 8970, 8990, and 8950 Macomb Street as a hotel, along with ancillary uses based upon the recommendation of the Planning Commission. And that's the old Rosetta Brayton buildings.
I'll support that. All right, we have a motion, we have support. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Clerk's report. Sharon, do you have anything you'd like to add? Nothing from the clerk's report. Treasurer's report. For the month of November, Grosse Ile Township had a total of $13,883,670 invested in various accounts. These accounts generated a total of $2,058 in interest. Average interest rate was 0.17%. Current breakdown of these investments and accounts are always available on the Treasurer's website at grossehill.com. The Treasurer's office has been very busy collecting year-end winter taxes for mortgage companies and individuals. Winter taxes are not due until February 14th, 2014, yet many pay before the end of the year for tax purposes. If you cannot pay your taxes by the due date of February 14th, there is a deferment of the due date for those who qualify. The deferment applications are available in the Treasurer's office and online at grossehill.com. As of today, we've collected a total of 57% of the 2013 winter tax rolls. Distribution to the schools and counties have already been made. 2014 pet tags are available at Township Hall. The fee is $6 until the end of January. The fee then goes up to $12 on February 1st. Be sure to provide proof of rabies vaccination for your pet tags. We're going to, I think we'll probably cancel the Airport Commerce Park because we won't have these bids back, so we probably won't have a meeting in January. The DPS January meeting was canceled, so there'll be none tomorrow. So that means the next DPS meeting will be the second Tuesday in February. I have nothing further. Mr. Malvesto?
I have nothing this evening, Mr. Treasurer.
Lauren?
I just have a few things. The next Festival Commission meeting is going to take place this Wednesday, the 15th at 7 o'clock. Want to remind everybody that the fireworks this year at Island Fest are going to take place on Friday evening. On Saturday, we've re-signed 50 amp fuse, so they'll be back for Saturday. We are also looking for volunteers, and there will be more information on the website coming soon. Next Communications Commission meeting will be this Saturday at 10 a.m. It's rescheduled from our meeting that was canceled last Wednesday. In the next few months, Ann is actually coordinating a presentation with MERS to come in and kind of give us an overview of their services. I know that the township is also in the process of starting their budgeting. And with that being said, what I'm going to do is ask both of my commissions to come up with 3 to 5 tangible goals and objectives that can be implemented in 2014 and or the forthcoming budget year. For me, it's not necessarily all about things that are going to be tied to the budget. I mean, certainly there can be things that don't cost anything, like creations of standards or policy-based items. Also looking at ways of reducing expenses. And one of the things that I want to put out there, in my opinion, for both management and department heads is that if, going forward into next year, if we're going to bring any sort of compensation increases, I would like to see those tied to performance appraisals as well as any sort of year-end bonuses as opposed to adding to the bottom line, thereby increasing our longevity costs. Just food for thought.
Thank you, Lauren. Mr. Pozak.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. That sounds good, Ted. Mr. Supervisor, sounds good, Ted.
Right into it.
It does.
I don't have a specific report tonight other than pulling your leg. But I do want to thank everybody who worked through last week's horrendous storm, especially our own township people and the county people. I was all over the community for those 2 days. And as horrid as our roads were, they were still better than anybody else's. Our folks gave it their all, and they were fighting a hard fight. So thank you to all of those folks that got it done. And by the way, thanks for the nice, clean bike paths. We appreciate that. That's my report.
Thank you, Wally. Mr. Budney.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I, too, would like to, first and foremost, thank our DPS department for the fine job they did clearing off our roads and the bike paths and making the island very passable in one of the heavier snows that we've seen in some time. So thank you guys, Mr. Kine and Ms. Beneteau and the whole gang. Thank you very much. No DPS meeting, as Ted said. The next one will be February 11th. We have a ZBA meeting on January 28th. And I'd just like to welcome everybody back and hope everybody had a nice holiday. That's it.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. The supervisor, unfortunately, had a medical emergency with a relative, so he was unable to attend tonight, and Eric is out of town on business, so he's excused. From the supervisor's report, the township offices will be closed on Monday, January 20th, 2014 for Martin Luther King holiday. It will be open the Friday before and the Tuesday after. The Recreation Department is sponsoring 2 delicious lunches for seniors. Superama, which is Wednesday, January 15th, at 12:30 p.m. at Centennial Farm. Various soups are on the menu. Cost is $10 in advance ticket sales only. The Midwinter Luncheon is on Wednesday, February 5th at 12:30 p.m. Centennial Farm. Cost is $10, advance ticket sales only. And the Daddy-Daughter Dance is scheduled for February the 7th, 2014 from 6 a.m. 6 a.m.? I don't think so.
Let's hope.
One long day, they've got some sore feet. From 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Middle School Cafe. Cost is $25 per couple, with each additional child $8. Please register by February 5th. There's limited seating. There's nothing else. Dale, do you have something?
A couple items I want to build on comments that Mr. Posiask and Mr. Budney said about the storm response. To let everyone know what the township had done, we have the county do priority clearing, and we supplemented that. Because police and fire were concerned about travel if there were emergency responses. So to put a few names, personal thanks to Jim, Jason, Dan, Jerry, John, Joe, Duncan, and Lorinda. They never hear their names enough besides titles, so thank you guys. But we were supplementing the county's removal to try to get ahead of the storm and stay ahead of it. And as Trustee Posias said, the roads weren't the greatest, but they were better than elsewhere. So we did a deconstruction, I guess, a hot wash meeting, the supervisor office likes to call afterwards. And we kind of went through what we thought we should try to improve upon and where we need to address some of our things in our operating procedures and our call-outs. So we're continually refining that, and I know Trustee Smith had joined us for that meeting. Is there anything you'd like to add or throw into the mix?
I think the idea of just doing a recap anytime those sort of incidents happen is probably a good idea. It was a good practice.
Yeah, and we actually received a few thank yous from some of the residents. So it was we wanted to be ahead of that, and that helped us tremendously. Another item, DTE is going around doing some meter upgrades and replacements. I know we had an island-wide project several years ago, so I just wanted the community to know that depending on the actual determination that DTE makes, they may be contacting the residents to do work and swap out their meter. And in most cases, it's done from the outside and you don't even know it. So with that, I have nothing else to add. Thank you.
Thanks, Dale. The last item on the agenda is public comment, and while Woody's on his way up here, do you want to get the...
Turn the speaker on, hand, so we can hear you.
I will.
Let's go towards the street.
Can't hear
See?
you. No, it's not.
Can you hear me now?
Here, use one of these.
No.
On the warrant list dated 12/18/2013 to O'Reilly Rancilio in the amount of $4,123.
And which lawyer is that? Me. Well, that's good. You got a name on.
Any other comment, Woody?
Yeah.
I knew that.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay, on this thing that you two people are working on,
The ordinance?
the ordinances,
Yes, sir.
how long is it going to take, you think?
We're almost through going through all the ordinances. We're looking at a different way of handling it, which we'll have to get together with Tom Sorty, and that could take some time because of his schedule and the depth of changing something completely. But right now, even with the old system, we're still looking at things. You're not going to see a huge change when this all gets done. I mean, it's not like we're going to have an army of people to go out and comb the island looking for things. If something comes up, just as we do now, if they're phoned in, they're looked at.
Well, you got a lot of these are like junkyard dog out there. You can see those. How long is it going to take to get to those? Because you drive down South Point, you got 3 you can look at real fast.
Well, we still have only one person to look at all this.
I know.
And that's not going to change. So
But you're still
it
gonna-
takes time.
But you go from the look to the...
Right. Well, you go from the phone calls. You respond to the phone calls. That's number one, and then the ones that look. But you don't have you have an individual who does a large number of other things.
I don't know.
He does not have necessarily the time to be out there every day just driving around looking for things, and that won't change.
Okay, so he.
So if you see something, by all means, call it in and it'll
Well,
get looked at.
I'm sure 1,000 people have called the ones that end down on South Point.
Then those are in process. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Because you got 3 that are really hot.
Yeah. And that's probably the quickest way to do it. If a phone call comes in, that gets looked at right away.
Okay,
That's the top
I like to get
priority.
past the phone call.
Yeah.
Okay?
And then it's not just, it's not as simple as going out knocking on a door and saying, hey, clean it up, and somebody's out there cleaning it up.
Right.
Sometimes people actually fight you on this stuff.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah.
That's why he's here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Woody.
Any other comments?
Yeah, you mean the guy with the gun?
Tim?
Oh, yeah, the guy with the gun, right?
I just want to take a minute to add Mark Tiso to the list of people out and plowing. The farm was open 24/7. We have the Tails organization there with the animals that volunteers need to get in constantly, the horses, and also the Water's Edge site. He was on top of it continuously, and I received quite a few calls on Mark's work call, so did a great job.
Thanks, Mark.
Any other public comment? All right, we have a closed section, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn to closed session.
I would like to make a motion to move to closed session at 8:02 p.m. for lease negotiations with Sharky's Restaurant.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you, guys, appreciate it. Didn't get it done by 8, but I got.